Okay. Are you ready for my final story?
Absolutely. Going on mute.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to talk a little bit about this first to begin
Oh,
with,
perfect.
because I have a couple of things to say about it. So we've talked previously about how like folklore evolves, and we've talked previously about like American folklore. I mean, obviously, America. If we talk about like the United States rather than Native American folklore. The United States is a relatively young country. We've been dealing with folklore from the old world, you know. Um, but just because it has it's got a shorter history doesn't mean that America doesn't have its own unique set of ghost stories, you know. It's just that they present themselves in a bit of a different way. In some cases, like you talked about the Dullahan earlier. Um, Obviously, in the early days of America, there were a huge number of Irish immigrants, and immigrants from all over the world brought their folklore with them, and that sort of melded together in the melting pot that was the early United States, and sort of synthesized into something new. Like one good example, of course, Washington Irving, Legend of Sleepy Hollow. That's got a headless horseman in it, obviously inspired by the Dullahan.
Exactly.
A bunch of adapted African lore for unfortunate reasons. Yep, absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Um,
But, Rare Rabbit. Those
Brer
classic
Rabbit,
Rare
yes,
Rabbit stories.
absolutely. It's the same sort of trickster that you see in a lot of folklore.
Yeah,
Um,
it's.
but
I think I
in
read somewhere that it was nearly a direct translation of a lot of Anansi stories, the
yeah,
trickster spider.
Quacko and Anansi, yeah. Um, and obviously stories about a clever person overcoming people who are much in a better station, and getting one over on their oppressors with wits. That obviously resonated with a lot of the African diaspora in the early United States. But I want to talk about something a bit more modern, and like sort of folklore is still very much current, and it hasn't gone away in the age of the internet. Like one example of like a story that has sort of developed and mutated with different retellings adding their own bits to it. Things like the Slender Man, um, and the SCP Foundation and things like that. There's a bunch of these stories that do just like mutate as they go on. My last story is from the American canon of horror stories. And it's one of those stories that has been through a number of retellings, but I have here one of the more interesting versions. Okay, so if you'd like to mute now, I will just take a quick drink and get on with it. Man and girl go out to drive under moonlight. They stop at a side of a road. He turned to his girl and say, "Baby, I love you very much." "What is it, honey?" "Our car is broken down. I think the engine is broken. I'll walk and get some more fuel." "Okay. I'll stay here and look after our stereo. There have been news report of stairs being stolen." "Good idea. Keep the doors locked no matter what. I love you, Sweaty." So the guy left to get full for the car. After 2 hours, the girl say, "Where is my baby? He was supposed to be back by now." Then the girl hear a scratching sound and a voice say, "Let me in." The girl doesn't do it. Then after a while she goes to sleep. The next morning she wakes up and finds her boyfriend still not there. She gets out to check, and man door, hand hook, car door. The end.
You are absolutely bastard.
I mean, oh god, I was holding in laughter that whole time.